everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So I've got a really interesting one for you today. There is currently a case sitting before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals called Sanchez v. Bonta. This is actually a case that is challenging the ban on suppressors in none other than the state of California. And we've got a pretty big development in that case, so I want to talk to you guys about it today. Let's get to it. Now, if you guys support the Second Amendment and content like this, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free, it only takes a second, but it really does help us spread our message. And that thumbs up button, it's quick and simple, but it shows engagement with the video, which helps us get out to more people. And the comment section's always wild, so jump on down there. But thank you to everybody for your support. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Sanchez v. Bonta, because this is a very interesting case. It's different than most of the cases that I've talked to you guys about in the past. Now, I didn't know anything about this case until I saw it mentioned by the CRPA and Costas Morris. They were talking about joining the fight in this case, so I decided to do a little bit of research, and it turns out that this is a case that started off with a pro se litigant, which basically means that Mr. Sanchez represented himself and started this case on his own. He didn't have any legal representation. Now, when he started this case, because he wanted to get one in the state of California and learned that they were banned, he obviously filed a lawsuit in the district court. Now, in the district court, he ended up losing. The district court basically said that these are not protected by the Second Amendment because they are not considered arms. Now, we all know that that's a bunch of BS. The district court got it wrong. They just simply didn't want to go through the whole process of reviewing historical traditions and analogs that were set in Heller and Bruin. They don't want to go through that whole process. So they just, claim that they're not arms, so they don't apply to the Second Amendment, and they can simply move on with their day. Well, thankfully, Mr. Sanchez recognizes that they are, in fact, arms, and so he decided to appeal up to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, where he had his briefing on February 3rd. So just recently, he got his briefing. Now, the result of that briefing was that the Ninth Circuit basically told Mr. Sanchez that they were inclined to provide him counsel. Now, the problem with that is when they provide you counsel, it could be a third-year law student, or it could be an attorney that doesn't have any experience whatsoever with Second Amendment litigation. And so that could obviously be a problem, and that is where the CRPA stepped in. And this is where things get really interesting. So this is an article directly from the CRPA. It says, Mr. Sanchez appealed, and after a briefing was complete on February 3rd, the Ninth Circuit issued an order stating that it was inclined to appoint counsel to represent Mr. Sanchez in his appeal and set a new briefing schedule. This is somewhat of an unusual move and strongly indicates that the panel is looking to make a procedural decision. We reach out to Mr. Sanchez to offer our assistance, and we being the CRPA, because of the broader implications that a case like this could have on the rights of all gun owners in the state. As a result, CRPA's lawyers and Michelle and Associates, which, by the way, is absolutely the best when it comes to Second Amendment litigation, will be joining Mr. Sanchez's new legal team and will work to prepare a new briefing alongside lawyers with the law firm Cooper and Kirk. While it is always an uphill battle in the Ninth Circuit, we are excited for the opportunity to establish that suppressors are undoubtedly arms subject to the Second Amendment's protections, and bringing these vital safety instruments one step closer to legality in California. So I bet you right now the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is absolutely regretting their decision to suggest he get counsel and set a new date for a new brief, because two of the absolute best, Cooper and Kirk and Michelle and Associates, have decided to join Mr. Sanchez in fighting for the rights of people in California to have suppressors. Now we have a case that's at the Ninth Circuit, is being represented by two of the best, and we have to now prove that these are in fact arms protected by the Second Amendment. And if it turns out that the Ninth Circuit agrees, which is going to be really, really difficult because we all know the Ninth Circuit, then these have to go through the full process of Bruin and Heller, meaning that they're offered the same protections. The state has to find some type of historical analog to prove that these regulations would hold up to the regulations of the founding era, right? So this is incredibly important to at least starting the fight to bringing these to the people of California. So this case went from a pro se litigant case, right? This guy's just kind of representing himself as he goes through because obviously he sees that his rights are being infringed, to a case that is now backed by some of the best. And so now we have a case, Sanchez v. Bonta, that is currently sitting before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to prove that, yes, these are protected by the Second Amendment. And if they are protected, then you have to prove, the state has to prove that they have the ability to ban them based on history and tradition. And there's no way they can do that, obviously, right? We know that there's no way that they can do that. So again, this is a case that turned very big, very, very fast, and I'm excited to pay attention to it and see exactly where it goes from here. But I wanted to let you guys know about that because obviously people in California, I had friends that have come over here from California that have never even seen one, held one. They wish they could have them back in that state, but California bans them just outright. You can't even go through the process of filling out paperwork or, waiting or getting your tax stamp, none of that stuff. All the NFA stuff is banned in California as a state law rather than a federal law. So obviously this is going to be a huge, monstrous, monumental uphill battle, just like everything else when it comes to our rights at the Ninth Circuit. But it's still something to pay attention to, and I'm happy to see that some of these organizations have jumped on board to help this case move forward. So I wanted to bring that to you and just let you guys know about it because I didn't even know about it until very, very recently. So I wanted to share that with you, and I want to thank you all very much for watching. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. The like button is always appreciated, and you guys have a great day.